All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get started. Um,
Okay.
there's two of us, two of you guys that have joined us in the room itself, and then there's, I believe, three other people who are looking at the video from the Google Plus YouTube page. If you're on the Google Plus page, I hope you're able to click on the Start button up at the top. That might be overlaid the thumbnail preview of this video. I think that'll actually let you join the conversation live instead of watching it.
Yeah.
You're able
I
to
tried. I tried to do it using the YouTube
Yep.
link, but I couldn't. I could when you send the invitation link.
Yeah, and you're fine actually, Jose. You're
So
you're in joining
yeah.
us live.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yep, you're fine. There's some people who may have clicked on a different link, clicked on another one.
Okay. Yeah.
Jima, great, great. Oh, can you hear us? Is it Jima or Jima?
Yeah, that's Jima.
Okay, great. Glad to have you join us. I was saying
I'm
anybody
fine.
joining us who might be on the Google Plus page and just a video or see a comments below. There should be a start button that will bring you into the video, into this session live with us. Anyway, we'll go ahead and get started. I'll just briefly introduce myself, and I think you all know Christina, but she can introduce herself as well. My name is Jason Mock. I'm Assistant Director here at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, and one of my responsibilities is managing the overall Coursera portfolio of courses, which of course involves the courses that you guys have participated in. I'm so grateful for all of the work that you guys have done in helping these courses operate as well as they have. We've gotten a lot of very, very good feedback about the community program and about you guys specifically. And we're just very grateful to have you with us. And what I hope we're going to outline today is just ways in which you can have your voices heard more, ways in which you can the overall experience for learners and you guys as well. So hopefully this will be a meeting that you guys come away with feeling energized and excited about where we're going in the future. And throughout this entire time, if you have any ideas how we can better serve you or meet your needs, or if you have ideas on how to improve what we're doing here at Illinois, I hope to get the message that we are very, very open to your suggestions or ideas. I hope you'll share them.
Just one thing, and maybe it's an issue at my end, but I can hear very well because maybe I'm hearing many sources at the same time. I'm listening to the other people, and it's a bit difficult. I can understand it very well.
I apologize. So yeah, for everyone else who is joining, if you're able to, I hear it too. If you're able to click the mute microphone button, at least on my screen, it's at the top, can help. So actually, yeah, Dina, thank you for that. I think that will help. And then when you need to talk, by all means, unmute. But certainly, there's a lot of background noise that is coming through as well. Okay.
Yeah, hi, I'm Christina. I'm community manager. I'm really excited for all that you guys are doing, and it's awesome to be with you. So I'm talk more about how we can do this together.
And actually, I'd like to ask you guys to introduce yourselves as well. Maybe we'll call out by name that we see here, and if you could tell us what course or courses you have worked with as a community TA, and how long you've been working with us or with anyone else on the Coursera platform. We'd love to hear it. So I'm just kind of going from the first person that joined. Is it Sonal?
Yes.
Can you just...
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Yeah, you can hear me? Okay. I'm Sonal Trivedi from Gujarat, India. And I have done 3 CTAs of Emergence of Life course. And another course I have done is Intro to Sustainability. Twice I have been CTA into that course. And I really enjoy doing my CTA work, and I appreciate that you have invited us to this CTA Advisory Committee.
Wonderful, thank you. And when was the first course that you joined us with?
It was Emergence of Life, the first offering.
Okay. So
Actually, I had joined as a student initially. Then later on, I was picked up by another CTA, and he had recommended my name to Christina, and then Christina agreed to take me up as a CTA as well. So I am into this since the first offering of Emergence of Life.
Okay, great. Thank you. Wonderful. Glad to have you.
Thank you.
Jose, and just so that you know, Ankit, I noticed that you joined. We're just introducing ourselves as we go down. Jose, can you go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Jose Carlos from Spain, and I started serving the CTA roles in the 2013, and I started my role with the University of Pennsylvania. The course was design creation of artifacts in society, and I've been serving the role in 4 sessions in a row, and I think it was an amazing experience. I met a very committed team for the first time, and then my role changed a little bit because I started to serve a different role, that is head CTA, to train new generation of CTAs serve the roles in a better way. And I'm so excited to be part of this chat today, and I hope we can discuss very interesting things altogether.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jose. And for those that just joined, we've been muting people as you come in just to eliminate some background noise so that everybody can hear everybody as well as possible. But certainly when you have something you want to say, please feel free to unmute your microphone from within the Google Hangouts area. And we'll love to hear what you have to say. So we're just making the rounds, introducing ourselves. Gemma, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
No.
My internet is a little bad, so I'm not sure how clearly you hear me.
I hear you just fine.
Oh, good, great. I'm Jima. I'm from Nigeria. I stay in Port Harcourt. I've been a CTA maybe since 2013, I believe, on John Hopkins courses, and CTA on a few of Illinois courses. I started CTA with Illinois with Emergence of Life, and most recently I was a CTA on Planet Earth.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate having you here. Next, Ankit, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my name is Ankit Jain. I'm a final year student of IIT Roorkee in India, and I joined as a CTA in microeconomics principle, and I got the opportunity to be the CTA for multiple times. So now I'm acting as a third time. I also now became a CTA for pattern discovery, that is the data mining specialization, and another one for cloud computing, part 1, and now I'm acting for part 2.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
No, we're glad to have you. And then Dipanjana, is that how you pronounce your name? And can you introduce yourself?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello. Yes. Hello, everybody. I am Dipanjana. I am from India, Kolkata. I joined this Introduction to Sustainability course in a couple of times. I was CTA into this course, and also I had been CTA in another course offered by University of British Columbia. It was on navigating climate change. It was a very interesting one. So by this time I had very good experiences, and thanks to University of Illinois for providing such interesting exposures to all of us. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. We're so glad to have you. And then we saw that Jean, Jean, can you? We're just introducing ourselves, mentioning briefly what courses you've worked on and how long you've been with Illinois as a community TA. Can you hear us, Jean? All right, well, we can come back to Jean if you hear us later. Happy to have you introduce yourselves, although I think we can say on behalf of Jean that we know that he's worked with us for a very long time in the microeconomics world, maybe more that I don't know offhand, but we thank you so much for all of your work, Jean, and for everybody, really. It's been really wonderful to work with so many fine and very talented folks. All right. Do you want to talk about the first item?
Yeah. So this will be our community TA advisory committee. We're thinking about having these types of meetings about once a month, and so that we can get your feedback on all the new things that are going on with community TAs and different things like that. Kind of seeing what's going on, and we're also thinking about having an Illinois Community TA Facebook group for all of our community TAs and our different courses, just to hang out and like build a community of our CTAs. Just kind of getting your feedback on all of this sort of thing too. Did you guys have any thoughts about that, or concerns or comments?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Well, I think the Facebook thing is a great idea. It would be really cool to hop together somewhere sometime.
Sure, basically there's just a way for all of the to Any other thoughts? And again, I apologize, I muted Deepanjana because of some background noise, but if you have anything you want to say, by all means, jump in. So it sounds like maybe it's a good idea to have both the Facebook group. Here's some people, on the side giving me feedback from Ankit and Jose, thank you. Does the idea of meeting about once a month in this online space work for you guys? And obviously, if you have another commitment and you can't make it, totally would understand. It's very voluntary, but we want to try to set up some kind of a regular pattern so that we can have these meetings, have other people come in as well who maybe can't join us today and offer their feedback as well. We want to have this regular pathway for you guys to give us feedback.
One thing regarding the Facebook group, I think it's a good idea, but probably have you considered to create that group on the CTA Resource Center? Because Facebook is maybe it's not the better place to join in a to work together, because it has many distractions, and I usually feel more comfortable with other CTAs on a, just like the CTA headquarters from Coursera. I think that there were better synergies there to work together. But it's just a suggestion, so that we can discuss.
Sure.
Maybe there could be a staff forum inside the resource center,
Okay,
because one of the issues that we had on HQ is that CTAs from other courses could discuss, which was great, but if a CTA was enrolled in a certain course, they could see what they shouldn't see. So maybe the staff forum on the course is great, and we can join the best things of both worlds in just one place. But if everyone is okay with the Facebook group, it could be very great. I haven't worked in Facebook with CTAs ever, but I know for sure that other CTA teams, because I've read about it on the HQ forums, work very well. So any that would be also a very good suggestion, but it's my opinion, so we can talk about it.
I appreciate that. And it could also be that the Facebook is really more of like the social stuff other CPAs. I don't know that we would think of it as like the official venue for having conversations with other CPAs about how to solve problems. I think you're right. That probably is better suited for something like the Coursera platform. But I think that's very, very good feedback, and I appreciate you sharing. Any other thoughts or comments about trying to meet
something about that? Hello.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I will also like to add to what we just discussed. In fact, I am also not very much comfortable with the Facebook idea because I personally don't have a Facebook account. I had used it previously, but as I also feel that there are a lot of other distractions. So if there is something can be arranged in Illinois Community Research Resource Center or something else would be better.
Hi, Jason. I mean, in continuation to what Sonal and Joseph state, I have still not joined the Facebook, and so I am also a bit apprehensive about joining the Facebook community. I am more comfortable in working in an Illinois platform, a Coursera platform.
Okay. So it sounds like some strong consensus there. Certainly appreciate that. We will, if we create a Facebook page, it will be highly optional, but it sounds like we'll focus more our efforts on
may I say something?
Sure, by all means, please.
Okay. I think we already have the Illinois Community Center, and so Facebook is like an add-on, and so it doesn't take away from what we have. I think Facebook has some advantages because I think some of us who might want to use Facebook might feel less constrained. I mean, this is a Facebook. It will be less official, and so probably it will be a place where we just come together for socializing, probably. And while the Illinois CTA resources is there for all the formal, official business and stuff. So I think Facebook as an add-on, it's a good idea from my point of view. And also, I like the monthly meet thing. So if it's fixed, if it's a regular schedule, I know every month that I'm obliged to be in this meeting. So I like both ideas, but that's just me.
Okay. Well, good. It sounds like we have a good idea of how we want to move forward with this group, and very much appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for all your feedback.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, one more thing. I think that in general, the best thing is to try to avoid fragmentation. So every interaction can be, stored in just one place. And I think that this initiative could be like pushing the interaction on the resource center, because sometimes CTAs, when they are attending the course, they participate a lot, but just when they start their courses, as they have the sub forum, they tend not to participate more. So if we had, I previously I said that maybe it could be a staff forum, a private site, but I think that making it more public so other CTAs can engage, maybe this meeting, this community can grow over time. And I think that it's always a good idea to have as more people as possible in the same place and take advantage of other discussions that are taking in at the same place. So if you go to Facebook, it could be very difficult to get those ideas, and you probably would have to take ideas into a sort of FAQ and then publish them on the resource center. So I think it could be a bit more complicated.
Sure.
So,
okay. Great feedback. We'll think about all of that and let you guys know, but at least it does sound like the monthly video-based meetings seem to be agreeable, so I think we'll at least move forward with that. And on that note, I wanted to just transition a little bit to talk about basically why specifically we're doing what we're doing and where I think that we're going to be going here in the future with both Coursera in general and our partnership with Illinois and with the community TA program that we have been part of. First of all, just so you know, I hear on a very, very regular basis a lot of feedback from Coursera themselves, the partners that I work with on a daily basis in Coursera, and from other Coursera partners, other institutions that have courses through Coursera, about how much they really, really appreciate this community TA setup that we have. Now, some of you mentioned working for John Hopkins or some of the other Coursera partners as well, and I'd love to hear if your experiences differ from this. But many have said that here at Illinois, we try our best anyway to take good care of you, the community TAs. We have the Community TA Resource Center. Christina and others have published a number of videos on there in an attempt to give you more information to think about while being a community TA. We're trying to do this, the Community TA Advisory Committee. We take the community TA role very, very seriously. As you know, for most courses, the professor of the course has spent months, if not years, developing the content of the course, the lectures, the assignments, etc. And when it comes to the delivery of the course, when students are interacting with the content, they tend to take a less active role. Not so much less active in the sense of they don't care about it anymore, but rather we've developed this structure of your help, of the students' help, of other people on my staff to help with the running of the course. And we couldn't do it without you. I couldn't do it without Christina. I couldn't do it without the rest of my staff. And so I thank you very much. I think that is why Coursera points out to new partners who are coming on board with offering MOOCs to Coursera. They always point out Illinois' courses as some of the best. And I'm very grateful for that. I'm very humbled by that. I think that is a testament to the hard work of the people here, including Christina, but also the hard work of you guys as community TAs. There is no way these courses would run without community TA support. I very much appreciate that. So because of that success that we've been having, we're pouring more into the community TA program. We're having meetings every month. We have some ideas that we'd like to spell out with you guys today. We're also hiring more Christinas, if you will. I'm trying to clone Christina as best as I haven't quite got that far yet. Anybody who has a patent on human cloning and development, please let me know.
Thanks, Jason.
So I do have 2 more community managers who are coming on board now, and you'll be introduced to them here very soon. They will do the exact same kind of thing that Christina has been working with you in the past, of making sure We're aware of opportunities to be a community TA and other courses, pointing new community TAs to our training resources in the resource center, answering questions, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to go from having one Christina to having two Christina, and I think that's a good reflection of how seriously Illinois takes the community TA program because of the value that all of you and other community TAs have offered in the past and how essential you are to the high quality that we're able to get from these courses. So thank you, and we hope to be investing in you more by doing some of the things that I just outlined. Do you want to talk a little bit about our upcoming on-demand courses?
Yeah, so as you guys may know, Coursera is doing a new thing called on-demand courses, and we're going to try to make some new on-demand courses, and with that comes different community TA trainings, and they're a lot different than the session-based courses. And so it also is kind of different with community TAs, as the on-demand course goes on basically forever and doesn't really have a beginning and ending point, with lots of students at different places at the same time. So we're thinking about asking people to be community TAs for like a 4-week period, and then.
And if you want to do more, that's fine. But as a baseline.
As a baseline, yeah, 4 weeks, and then you can always kind of, and then other community TAs to help the newer ones. And then we're kind of revamping the Illinois Community TA Resource Center to help with the new on-demand courses.
Yeah. So to mention, if you're not familiar with on-demand too much, the biggest difference that Christina was articulating was there is no start date and no end date. Coursera has told us that from the student perspective, the two main reasons why people don't finish a MOOC is because A, when they go to sign up for a MOOC, it's not available right now. It might be you have to wait a month or 6 months, by which time life may have gotten busy or you may have lost interest or what have you. And then the second reason that's cited is life happened. I mean, how many times have you tried to work on a course and something really pressing comes up in your life or in your work situation and you just can't dedicate time to the course anymore? So that notion of having a deadline that disqualifies you from finishing the course is also taken away with the on-demand model. So there will be some differences for sure in both the student experience, the community TA experience. They're actually renaming that role to community mentor, so you may hear us refer to either community TA or community mentor. But we want to be proactive. We're offering our very first on-demand course here in like 2 weeks, actually in 1 week. 1 week, excuse me, I had to check and see what the date was today. In 1 week, we're offering Marketing to a Digital World, our first on-demand course on the Coursera platform. It's a business course. And so if any of you are interested in being a community TA, please let Christina know. Mm-hmm. But that's going to be different from what we've experienced before. There isn't the start date. The notion of a cohort of students moving through the content together is different. It's still there, but it's different. So we're specifically interested in evolving the community TA program to meet that new need of on-demand. So any questions from anyone about what on-demand is or how we're planning on?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, I mean, I think this is a new challenge which is being posed through this change of timeline, because otherwise we know that we are providing some help for week 4 and week 3. Now this part is removed. But anyway, this is a new challenge. It's an absolutely new domain. So I think we should try and find out the ways how we can handle it. And of course, I like this idea of 4 weeks because as you have already stated that there are a lot of commitments coming in our life. So it is much doable and manageable if I do it for 4 weeks time, not for the entire period. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other thoughts or comments about on-demand?
Yeah, I want to ask one thing that students have the flexibility to start anytime, but how many students actually finish because they might lose interest after 2 or 3 weeks. So that might be a big challenge on on-demand courses. So one is that, and second is to be prepared to answer their question, we should know what is the content. So if we can get access to content earlier, that would be much more beneficial.
Okay,
Two
great.
things that I had. Yeah.
So to answer the first question a little bit, the truthful answer is we don't know. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like in on-demand in terms of students who may lose interest and so forth. What we can tell you is this, that in very broad, round numbers of the students who register for a course, currently in the session-based model, as we call it, the one where there's a start date and an end date and it's a session, that about 1/3 of the registrations are people who never log into the course once. They had good intentions maybe, or they're just kind of bookmarking it because, you know, to register for a course only takes an email address and that's it, right? So 1/3 never log into the course once. 1/3 will log into the course only once. Maybe it's to kind of check it out, see if it's kind of what they were hoping for, and they decide it isn't what they were wanting, or it's too much work, or it's the wrong topic, or life happens and they just don't get back to it. And then it's the last 1/3 of the people who register who are somewhat consistent. Now, even amongst that last 1/3, there is an attrition, a fall off of people who lose interest, life happens, etc. But what we know from talking to Coursera is for those people who previously have stopped taking the course because of an issue like they couldn't meet a deadline, and so they missed the first deadline, so they had to leave the entire rest of the course behind because they couldn't pass the course anymore. For those people in particular, they have a much higher likelihood of staying in the course. Now, if someone just doesn't have interest, or you know, life changes or what have you, and they're no longer interested in that topic, you know, on demand isn't necessarily going to solve that problem, but it's intended to solve the problem of time. The fact that it's available now, and you can take as long as you need to take it. We have had early experiments that it wasn't truly on demand, but it was what we call pseudo on demand, where we had, instead of, there's actually microeconomics. A couple of you mentioned being a community TA in that course. We just finished yesterday an experiment where we were offering the course in a pseudo on-demand fashion, where you could start the course anytime during this 16-week window, and you could take as long as you want up to the end of the experiment yesterday to complete the course. And we saw things like students who are completing the course in a matter of days instead of weeks. Of course, there were some students who were completing it in the weeks that they were allowed. We had something along the lines of 1,000 new people joining the course every week. So instead of having, say, 52,000 people joining the course at the same time, and they had that one opportunity to continue, we have 1,000 people joining every week. And those 1,000 people roughly stick together throughout the course. Or they may go at a different speed and join people who started the course last week or next week, and they'll get caught up with them. So that community model is there, it's just different, but only time will tell exactly what it looks like. But I appreciate you asking about that, Ankit, because that's something we're very interested in ourselves.
Hello.
I have a suggestion. Hello, Jason.
Yeah, go ahead, Riyal.
Hello.
I have a suggestion. That is, when during this on-demand courses, along with the student, is it possible to provide that in which week or in which stage of the course this particular person is there, because it will be easier for CTAs to handle their questions at that point of time.
That's a very good point, and I appreciate it. I thought someone else was speaking, but Dipanjana, to your point, in the discussion forums, you know, someone could bring up question from week 4 or module 4 of the course, and the exact same time someone brings up something from module 1. So I think yours is a very good point. I'm going to write down that we need to encourage students to definitely where in the course the question is coming from. We will retain what we have had historically of discussion forums specific to each module of the course. In fact, one thing that you guys might like is in the on-demand platform, it's not just a new model of when we offer courses, but also an entirely new server, an entirely new technology. And in that new technology that Coursera is offering, a lecture, for example, right now, if you have a question about a lecture, you can click on a link to go to a discussion forum about that lecture. In on-demand, you'll see the video at the top of the screen, and then kind of like YouTube or here in Google Hangouts below that video is the discussion forum. So you and the students won't even have to leave the page to ask your question. So that'll help partially to what Panchana was talking about making sure that we know which question, what part of the course they're asking a question about. But we can always encourage that to students as well if they're posing their question somewhere else. Very good feedback. Thank you.
Hello, may I speak?
Oh.
Yep. Go ahead, Jim. Rial?
From,
Go ahead, Rial.
okay. Sorry if I joined late. I had some technical problem to to see you. But I saw you, but to be able to speak. Okay. I'm a CTE for the VLSI course. So it's a course really demanding because it's 10 weeks for 10 hours a week of work. So it's one of the reasons which I was CTE for that, because I think students need help in this case.
Mm-hmm.
When my personal experience, I did around 80 MOOCs, which I completed, but when I try like on-demand courses, I like to be able to do really quickly, like in a weekend. It's like a blitz, which is otherwise I can put for next day, and then I will forget it. I won't continue, rather than when the actual way where you have a deadline and you have to respect them, which is hard, but also it's a pressure to complete. But on demand, either I'm doing really quick or I will, I think it will be harder to go to the end. That's my opinion about that.
Okay. Thank you for that. I mean, part of this, by the way, is Coursera is telling us that their data suggests that on-demand is a good decision, the right direction to go. And they have some experiments where they've shown that to be good for the student, good for the university, et cetera, et cetera. Part of it, though, is we don't know. We're experimenting with this with our first on-demand courses, and especially for any of the community TAs of those courses, I'd really like to hear what specifically does and what specifically does not work. I didn't mention this before, but Coursera, when we first started with Coursera almost 3 years ago, they worked with us a lot to improve the platform, to improve the technology. And they introduced a lot of features that we asked for. They're very responsive to our ideas, etc. And now I believe the same is still true with this on-demand platform. It's a brand new technology. Like I said, they rewrote all of their code of what runs their website from the beginning. And they're very open to our ideas of what does and does not work. And so I'd love to hear from you all of why this is or why this isn't working. But admittedly, right now, it's a bit of an experiment. So. Yeah, thank you.
May I?
Oh, okay.
Jose?
No problem. Go.
Okay, Dima.
On the on-demand course, I have been fortunate to be a mentor for about nearly 2 months on an on-demand course. Surprisingly, most on-demand courses have very, very little take-up. My course, we are so few. The students, the interest, the participation is really low, really, really low. And then we have something like the old CTA headquarters for mentors across courses. So we we talk across courses, and I know there are several courses who think they may not even have anybody complete the course, not one, maybe just the two mentors.
Wow.
It's and for me, I also try to take some on-demand courses. I didn't get the name of the speaker before me, but his experience is similar to what I got. It's difficult mostly because it's kind of fragmented. And then so on-demand courses, we're trying to, well, what we're trying to test out is working in cohorts. So encourage people to come together, maybe enroll together as a group in a month and walk through with that cohort. But even that is still very, very challenging. So that's my personal experience as both a student and a mentor on the on-demand format. It's contrary to what we would expect. We'd assume that because people can come in, they love it. But I think what happens is we all love to come in as a group and work together. The discussions are going together, but in the on-demand, each person is totally on their own, and it kind of loses, I think, its attraction.
You know, I have to thank you for sharing that, Gemma. I have to admit I've had the same concerns. My background is in pedagogy, like how people learn, and I know that in the training that I've received, there's great value placed on that relationship piece between the student and other students, between the student and the instructor and the student content. And so I've been worried about that same thing. And to hear you express that worry is a reality, that for some people it is harder for them to make those connections. I take that very seriously. Let me say a couple things in response to that, and I hope you all can help me with this in some way. One, you mentioned that at another institution that they're trying to form cohorts of students. I believe I've heard about that same model where maybe it's in like Google Plus or something like that, where there's like a community of people led by a community TA or community mentor who says, hey, if you're interested in completing this course in 4 weeks or 8 weeks, as your community mentor, I will post an announcement on behalf of the course, trying to kind of encourage everyone to keep with deadlines. Okay, you're nodding, so that's the same thing you're experiencing. I would love to try that with our on-demand courses. You mentioned that there's still challenges. I'd love to hear more about those challenges, because in my mind, I want to address those challenges. I want to conquer those challenges and try to make it successful. The other thing I'll say about that is, you know, I think that Coursera has made a significant investment in the on-demand platform. That I
can't tell if I'm there or not.
I do hear you. It sounded like Jean's voice.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that.
No worries.
I'm blinking myself. Okay.
I know you've been dropping in and out a little bit, Jean, and so hopefully you can catch the recording if you do drop out again. But let me just follow up with what I was saying to Jima about Coursera has made a significant investment in the community in the on-demand platform. So I think that it would take some healthy documentation of what is not working about the community, about on-demand, for them to change it. And I think that they would be very open. I mentioned before that when working with Illinois 3 years ago, they were very open to our feedback, and I think they're kind of walking on eggshells, as we would say here, to tread very carefully in approaching Illinois about on-demand, because they know that, how do I put this? They know we're very picky. They know that at Illinois we have very high standards and expectations, and that if our first on-demand course that's launching here in a week doesn't do very well, we have the experience that Jima was talking about of only people finishing the course, there's no community learning going on, that we're going to be upset and let them know. So I'm just asking you to help me be upset if it's something that we should be upset about. if you know what I mean. So give Christina and myself any and all feedback of what you see that is working well and what you see is not working well. And I know Coursera is going to work with us to try to fix anything that's not working well. But my goal would be that we have a positive experience for all of the Coursera students, whether session-based or on-demand. And just to complete that picture, Coursera is suggesting that all new courses that start brand new from this point forward are done in an on-demand fashion. But that doesn't stop us from having them on the new platform, but still having the instructor send out a weekly announcement saying, hey, I'm going to be looking at this course this month, and I'm going to send out an announcement for Module 1. And next Monday, we're going to send out another announcement for Module 2. So it'll feel kind of like a session-based course, even if it's still on demand. So that's one thing that we're going to experiment with. Another thing we want to experiment with is that community TAs, having a community or cohort of people working together. And then, another idea that we have lots of ideas, and we won't have time to talk about all of them today. I was telling Christina ahead of time that our agenda for today's meeting was overly optimistic, so we won't get through everything, don't worry. But we have lots of ideas, and maybe what I'll do is save some of those for an email to you all and get your feedback on them. But the main point I want to articulate is again, thanking Jima for that feedback about how on-demand isn't necessarily all roses and not necessarily all good things, but that there are some difficult challenges about it. And I look forward to trying to solve those challenges with your help, being the eyes and ears on the ground, to tell us what is not working about it so we can focus our energy there.
Hi.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm going to paste a few suggestions there. Okay. First thing, when you have just mentioned the pseudo on-demand courses, the experiment that you tried, and I think it's very interesting, and maybe it could be done the other way around. So for those on-demand courses, maybe there could be 2 game modes, but no, it's not necessarily something that Coursera have to develop and make a lot of effort to enable that. Just something like soft deadlines, meaning that you have that pseudo pressure to finish week every week a module, for instance. So maybe if you have a week that you are busy, you can just have 2 weeks for that. But once you start 1 week, to have that feedback to try to finish it every week. Regarding discussions, I've been surfing a little bit in just one course, the public speaking one, and I think that all the courses, the on-demand courses, are worked out in the same way. But I think that you can not only read but create threads and posts, even if you haven't seen any video, watched any video. And I think that maybe that's something that Coursera we could suggest to them, that you cannot participate in a discussion before completing a module or maybe a video, because there's much noise on the discussions, because people are very, it's understandable, but they tend to say, hi, I come from whatever, and maybe it's interesting to have that. It's another point of my suggestions, to have some place to socialize so you can focus on what's important on each module. And the other thing is small discussion groups. That's something that I discussed with Christina, and it's also to provide engagement for students. So you can join. That is something that should be implemented by Coursera. It's say a feature, but maybe we can find a way to do it without any implementation by any programming, and it's the possibility to join a small group. So every person in that group can be feel the pressure, the social pressure of the group, and they can it can be something like joining the best of both worlds, the on-demand and the classic courses, by having not just the great interaction with students all over the world, but having just like a meetup. But it's a virtual meetup, but can be very close to that feeling, that experience. And filtering by date, I think that it's very important, because you can find a post that was published maybe 6 months ago, and I don't know how it works, but maybe you can unsubscribe from a subforum. So maybe you can ask to that person who left the post 6 months ago, and she won't participate anymore. So maybe you can restrict the period to participate in a discussion that can be more accessible for students in a certain period of time. And regarding what said Mia, I'm sorry, Yima, just a few minutes ago. I think it's true that I've seen mentors participating, but it was. I think that it's a problem of the on-demand the on-demand philosophy, that students hardly interact. They post, but they don't interact. They don't. There are not real discussions. I'm saying that only from my experience on just one course. I don't know how it works with other courses, but I think that maybe mentors in on-demand courses could be like coach, so they can just try to activate discussions by creating open questions, just like we do on classic courses. But I think that here in this particular case is more is key to make people start discussing, because they feel more, it's more virtual. The great thing about classic courses is for those who want to participate on forums, is that they can feel that they are in a community, and I think that it could be a way to foster that. That's all.
Absolutely, all very, very good points. And I think there's a couple of specific ideas.
Listen, I mean, Jose has shared his experience. I had a personal observation, I should say, that almost I have completed successfully almost, I'm not sure, but around 19 online courses in last 3 years. This was a very interesting experience for me. But what I have felt, that it is always easier to cover if there are 10 6-minute lectures than 3 20 minutes lectures. Because many of the times, when we are online, we have to chip in this online course lectures in between our works, and it is always easy if it is if the lectures are in short span. It is not easy to sit back in your home after the whole office even for 20 minutes at a stretch. So as with the objective with which these on-demand courses are being offered, I think this is a request that if you can see that there may be the content should not be reduced, but it should be provided in shorter spans. That might help students to to continue the course.
I think that's a great suggestion, Deepanjana, and that's actually very much in line with how we try to develop all of our courses, that each lecture is as short as possible in terms of the total amount of lecture time. And then when my team works with instructors to actually create the lectures, we tell them, right now we tell them we recommend 4 to 8 minutes in length. What research has shown is that any longer than about 8, 9, maybe 10 minutes, there's this like curve where after you get longer than 8 or 9 minutes, students actually watch less of the video than if the video were only 4 minutes long. So even though it's like a 12-minute video, they might only watch 3 minutes of it, whereas a 4-minute video, they'd watch 3.5. It's kind of like a psychological, like I feel like I'm not making enough progress through the video. So I know not all of our courses do that. Ballistic VLS ICAD, for example, I know maybe does not do that one as well. But many of our courses do try to abide by that. But I think your point is well taken that especially for the student who is trying to view the lectures, this is what I always tell instructors, after work on the commute home on a train, or in between taking their child to one event or another, or in the 20 minutes after they're done with all of their chores for the day before they fall asleep. They're very small pockets of available time for some people. We also heard earlier about what we call the weekend warrior, the person who has a day off from work and wants to spend the entire day just consuming the entire course. So we have both ends of the spectrum, people who only have time for small pieces and people who have time for a large piece. And the recommendation is let's tailor to the small, because those people who are the weekend warrior who goes through all of the content in one day, they can just accomplish 50 videos in one day, whereas the person who is taking their child to school and back, they may only have 20 minutes at a time. We can satisfy their needs as well. So thank you for that feedback. I think that's very important and one that we'll continue to emphasize with all of our courses moving forward, whether on demand or session based. I think that rule applies equally. I do want to.
And since this is a new thing, I think we will, if I really try to be a CTA in this on-demand course, I will have to interact more with Christina and you to learn together how to handle the problems as a CTA by being giving service to this course as for an on-demand course.
Sure, that's great. And I guess what I'll say there is that we want to support you all as community TAs or community mentors, as they call it in the on-demand. And we're going to do that through things like new training for those who went through the Illinois Community TA Resource Center. We're going to update that training for the on-demand. You mentioned how to handle some specific situations. We'd love to hear from you what specific situations that you encounter. That's actually how we developed part of the Community TA Resource Center, was by listening to you, polling some of you on what issues you run into. So we want to continue that trend of equipping you to be as helpful as possible, because boy, you guys have been wonderful. You've been so much help, so I very much appreciate that. I want to be respectful of everyone's time, knowing that we scheduled the time to end here about now, a few minutes ago, and I don't want to keep anybody longer. I do want to just say, again, thank you for your time here today. I already mentioned we didn't even get through half of our agenda, and that's okay. What we will do is we will try to continue this conversation online, probably in a thread somewhere inside of the Illinois Community TA Resource Center, where we might just break this agenda down into smaller pieces and have a thread explaining some of the new opportunities that we see happening for community TAs, community mentors, explaining some of the new content we're hoping to bring to the Community TA Resource Center and get your input on it, and look at some next steps beyond that as well. So I would just encourage you all to continue to work with us. We've really enjoyed your help, and we'll continue this discussion first online in the Illinois Community TA Resource Center, although you're more than welcome to email us at the email address that Christina has been sending emails to you from. And we will do this again probably approximately the same time next month. It seems like this time worked for as many people as you can when you're dealing with all of the time zones around the world. It's never a perfect time for everyone, but we'll try to get as many people involved as possible in both the live sessions and in the online piece in the Community TA Resource Center. So anything you want to add there, Christina?
Yeah, I'm just really glad that we all could meet, and we got some good feedback, and I'm looking forward to next time. So.
And I'll just add one more thing that part of what I asked Christina to do is share with me stories about both students but also community TAs who have just really risen to the top and really performed a wonderful job in helping us. And as I was being introduced to each of you, I've seen your name, I've talked to Christina about the things that you've been doing, and each one of you are ones that we have talked about before. We talk about you behind your back. But all in good ways. And so very, very heartfelt thank you to each of you specifically who are joining us live. And for those who are joining via watching the recording, to you as well. Thank you so much for your efforts, and we just continue to look forward to working with you and making this a better experience for the thousands, hundreds of thousands. We're actually up to like 1.5 million people who Illinois has reached through the Coursera platform. And we just want to continue to improve that. And with your help, I think we're going to do a great job. So with that, I'll just sign off and say thank you. And we'll send out a link to the recording here. And I look forward to talking with you more.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.